Welcome. Thank you. I'm Shodo. I'm the Sukansu and the Shisui here at SokukoJi Buddhist Monastery, which means I help keep things going, trying to help with the programming and the property upkeep here. I just want to invite anyone who finds value in these teachings to please participate either by joining us for the Dharma talks from either Sokuzan or his monks, his students. Join us for any of the book studies throughout the week, even just one time throughout the week would be great to see you in our Zendo or to join us online. We could really use your help with your practice, joining us, and also financially to help us keep the programming going here. So thank you very much. Those of you in the Zendo may come join me up by the altar. If you're online, you're welcome to turn on your computer screen. We'll wait just a moment for Sokuzan to join us here in the Zendo. Thank you. Sokuzan has asked that I give a talk on the topic of awareness and body and mind. Awareness, body and mind. Sorry, I think I have some dinner stuck in my throat. But everyone's far enough back that if I am sick, we're all safe here. Got the plague apparently. Yeah, Abby, did you have something? I saw that you just unmuted. All right. So, Sokuzan and I just met for a few moments before this to go over that topic, looking at primarily shikantaza and maybe looking at some movement practices too. So let's see where this goes. So I feel everyone is familiar with shikantaza, sitting meditation, and looking at that as a kind of formless meditation where there's not particularly an object, you're not intentionally doing something with your mind, like as part of the practice, you're just observing. Not that the mind isn't going to do something there, but there's not a particular focus point. Like Sokuzan's taught it, whatever shows up, that's it. So whatever our practice is, if we're having difficulty, if we're not sitting great, if our intention is to sit down, hold still, and to observe, as far as I understand it's taught here, you're doing it right. It's just a matter of continuing to do it. I even talked to Sokuzan recently where I've had body troubles forever and I'm in a little bit of a space where things are agreeable. And I asked him, what was it? Oh, I think I asked, am I just now starting meditation? Because I'm just now able to sit still. And he's like, you're always just starting meditation. So that was good to hear. I still get to keep my credentials for this first couple of years. But I do feel inspired, contrary to my affect right now, to talk about meditation practice and in particular how it can inform and be supported by movement practices, possibly. So with shikantaza, it's been described as both a very simple practice, but also potentially the most advanced practice because there's no handles to it. Sokuzan has shared in the past where he's not even sure if his first meditation instruction was shikantaza, but sounds like it, where they were just brought into a room and told to sit, like that was it. He at least gives us, like, watch what moves. We get a little bit of a form there. And then you have the question, what the hell does that mean? What watches what moves? What are you talking about? It seems so simple, but that's why it's so difficult, because your mind, it looks like, because there's so little to do, your mind is just immediately brought up in contrast with that, with all the stuff that you're making up the instant you sit down. No, just me.
Everybody recognizes.
Age. I remember when I first tried sitting, it was so hard. Luckily, I also learned some walking meditation, because I could sit down for like 3 minutes tops, and it was brutal. Like, just even sitting down on the floor, and I would just have to walk for like 10 minutes, sit down for like 2 or 3, and then walk for like 10 or 20 minutes. It's like, I'm doing this for an hour, like whatever it is. So I'll just keep walking in a little circle. But so I have found it pretty necessary to, over the years, and more recently, more structured, to work with my body kind of off the cushion, because it's in such bad shape. And I really don't know what to say about any of that. I'll speak just a little bit more just out of my personal experience. I don't know where else to go with it, but being really appreciative of how there's not a strong emphasis on the way our meditation needs to look. I remember, I wasn't here for this, but Sokuzan's preceptor came in here before he was transmitted, before Sokuzan was transmitted, and immediately starts correcting everyone's posture, something that, like, 2 things. 1, that we don't do here, and 2, that they do at other places. So he's coming in, he's the head honcho, he's doing his job. He comes in and starts correcting everyone's posture. And I heard that really pissed some people off, and sounds kind of disrespectful too. But I can see why he would think that, like, if everywhere else, like, that's just what you do, he just comes in like, oh, this person's crooked, this person needs to sit up, just starts doing that. But because of that lack of emphasis on that practice here, as far as, like, I mean, we get a little bit like a string's pulling you up from the top of your head and you relax into it. We're given a lot of freedom to meet our body where it's at. And that can be years and years of not being aware of how much pain you're in with your body. So that to me shows how important it is, or that Sokuzan's more interested in the awareness part of it, because that feels valuable to me, that I, speaking for myself, was given a chance to actually explore where I was at already, instead of like getting to a nice posture and then like practicing. I was able to use my pain to kind of kick my ass into what I needed to do. And that could have shown up in, and has, in any number of things, getting a job or finding I needed to incorporate some other practice. So that's kind of literally how it happened. Sokuzan brought up, potentially I've been practicing with another instructor here with Qigong and Tai Chi. Tai Chi, as he's adamant of letting you know it's pronounced Tai Chi with a J. I was in a 4x4 out at one of the retreat huts at the Black Stag property here. And that's I don't know if it's a 4x8 or 4x4, but I was doing 2 block sits a day. And it was like my body situation hit a crescendo there, and I literally couldn't sit another second. Like, it was like, get out of here. And I think that week I go to call Ed, the instructor, and wouldn't you know, he's teaching a free class for the next 10 weeks a block from my house. Like, he's like, well, why don't you come to that first? It's like, that's great, it's convenient. And then luckily we over at Karma House have been able to hire him for 2 classes over here. So I've been able to, like right now he has 2 classes there and then a class of Qigong at the library. So I get him personally for pretty much free for 3 hours a week, which is awesome. And those practices, I mean, they're about alignment. So you do just naturally happen to sit easier. So now I can sit more comfortably, but does that mean my awareness practice has changed or I'm more aware of something? Doesn't feel like that, but it's helping relatively with some body pains I haven't been able to work with. I've tried like PT, multiple courses. I can't really find out what's going on. MRIs, chiropractors, a DO, not to mention like medication, which is why I know SokukoJi in the first place, having troubles with those. So I was curious to try to talk about how maybe those practices inform each other or support each other. Not that I'm encouraging or promoting anyone does one practice or the other, but I feel there's no way I could know what it would have been differently, but I feel really appreciative to have a formless practice before getting into something like Taiji, because it's so, it makes you feel good, those practices, and I could see like just assuming that meant it was spiritual or something, and just, yes, this is the practice, and completely missing a chance to actually observe how crazy I am. Those forms are so symmetrical and synchronized that when you fall into it, you actually do feel good and it looks like you're having progress. And I really appreciate the formless practice, just having trained in this and concepts through Buddhism where you're kind of introduced to some of the pitfalls where I have an understanding going into that, like this death comes without warning, this body will be a corpse. So like those things are in my head. Like, so I'm enjoying myself. I do want to feel better, but remembering it's not about making the body like workable fundamentally. And then because those practices do help you feel better or line yourself up a bit, I do feel like I'm able to sit and get to the cushion and actually have less of it's interesting to see how, because my body's calmed down a little bit, maybe this is a bit of the topic too, that I'm less resistant to getting to the cushion. So seeing like how those, like the mind and body aren't really 2 different things. Like you could have like a stomach bug or something and it really affects like your mind state. It's interesting. I've been finding that high gluten pizza crust makes me extremely depressed occasionally, like complete suicidal thoughts, like to the point where it's, once I kind of saw that correlation there, it's kind of funny just to see like how this thing I'm eating is making me go insane. But there's a kind of a causal thing that I can witness there, and I'm still gonna eat that pizza. The trick is to eat it and go right to bed so you sleep through the depression and then you wake up just in that groggy state. That's how I do it. So welcome Yudao. Yudao's another person I know you missed the topic, I'm sure, but looking at awareness practices with the body and mind, and I was talking a little bit about getting into like Taiji. So I know Yudao's practice, and I know Ray has practiced too, or even still does. I was happy to see that you were on here. And I know Myoka's done some of that. Shokuko's done some of the things that were brought up in like the Shambhala tradition. Elena's done like just giving everyone's inventory here. Like you've done dancing, like professional, not professional, but like formal, professional dance lessons and everything. SokukoJi's done it all.
35 years ago.
35 years ago. Ondo, do you wiggle around at all?
You do, Taiji?
Yes, but when I was in the seminary, in the Catholic seminary, we had people from China.
Oh.
Yeah.
She got the real stuff.
The real deal.
I don't know what else to say about it. I'm happy to respond to questions if we can go into how maybe some practices on and off the cushion help each other, or any other direction to go with that. I could use some help. ShokukoJi.
ShokukoJi. I liked your pizza story and kind of the strategy around it. And I'm wondering about the same thing in using a physical practice to sit and like strategy, like, I don't have the question exactly. Are you strategizing?
Yes, I would say so.
And
But are you aware of it?
No. Maybe? It's like, I wanna say yes, but then I get credentials for it, and then that means I'm not aware of it, and I don't wanna be like not aware of it. Strategizing about how to
what are you
strategize.
strategizing toward?
Feeling better. I think it's just simply feeling better.
Thank you.
Don't want to feel as bad as I'm okay with suffering. I just don't want to suffer this bad. It's too much. But like I was saying, like it hit a boiling point for me to actually like go find someone. Like I've always been doing a little thing here or there, or jumping over for a class over at the yoga studio, or even working out. But there was something structurally out of whack that like I was actually hurting myself, and I tried for at least like 10 years of sitting practice to just kind of casually bring that in until the point where I had that 4x4 where my body was like, no, like you need to do something about this. So it's like I didn't really have a say so about it at that point.
Shodo, are you finding that, or what are you finding that there's less physical pain when you're sitting? How is that affecting the so-called not body part?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. At least right now, because I'm in like they call it pink cloud sometimes. Like when you stop doing something that hurts you, you kind of have a kickback the other direction where you feel really good. So then I'm going the other way with it's like, how can I make this feel even better? Like just really sit here straight forever. So like the neurosis is just taking on a more colorful, like neurotically focused on the pain. No, I'm neurotically focused on the pleasure. But I trust it won't last. But yeah, there's some of that going on. You okay?
Yoga bowing, so if mind follows body and you have less pain, is there less pain in the mind?
I can't make a big conclusion about this, but I can't really, I'm finding it harder to even separate those, that like the pain in the mind like looks like there's actually like something happening in the body at the same time. They're not two different things. Are you familiar with brain spotting? Like, so my understanding, just I've been a patient of that twice. There's like your eye, there's probably trillions of like little spots it can be in, but like you store trauma, or there's like an access way through your eye movement. So like a therapist will sit and like find that spot, and you'll just sit there, and it might not feel like much is going on, but like I had to sleep for like an hour after each of those sessions because I was completely exhausted. Doesn't sound like much, but I feel like with the movement practices, there's something like that going on too, where you get the combination just right, and there's like a trauma, especially like I've had this arm crushed and broken like 3 times, and going back to like where it was when it was like crushed, like I stumbled upon that position again. It's interesting. It's like putting it back there is like scary. So there's like a memory stored in that position, like the nervous system like keeps it there. And then speaking anecdotally, it's like your body wants to like ignore that spot. So when you have a range of motion that you go through it, it like hiccups past that spot. And if you're fast enough, you won't ever notice it. But if you slow it way down and you find that spot, it's bad. It's like lightning bolts. It's really interesting. So I feel like it's a kind of brain spotting with your body, like where the nervous system, the spinal cord and all that just hits it just right. And then you have access to that trauma or that injury memory or something like that. I think that's probably my understanding of somatic experiencing. They're talking about something like that. They're putting your body in a position to kind of reprocess or process your trauma, which brings up like why I'm happy to have the formless practice first, because that could easily just be a lifelong like process of like, all right, I'm gonna find all my pain stories and then filter them out and then finally have a healthy, happy body, and then you get hit by a truck the day after you do it. So a little bit of that seems workable, but I probably steered way off your question though. I don't even remember what you asked.
SokukoJi, I don't remember, but I have done brain spotting also sessions and found something similar. When you though return to sitting and you're not doing all the movement, does that do those experiences also show up, or do you intentionally look at those?
That's a good question. To the one part of your question, I'm not intentionally trying to kick anything up like that. Like if I'm understanding you to like bring something up to like process it, not as far as like anything I'm doing on purpose. Was that the crux of what you're asking?
Part of it, and the other part is, does it just show up?
Yes, I'd
That's
say
all.
so. And that's like another part that I'm happy to have like the Dharma practice too, where the teaching is that we're not just our body and that like we're not separate from everything anywhere. So it'd be one thing like that belief on the body where you could go through and like scrub the body out of all of the traumas and then have a happy body, but you're still not separate from all of that stuff around you. So you can't like isolate yourself from like the mind stream or the wind or the heat and temperature, like, and all of that stuff seems to, you can't sit on this little island of nice body and not be subject to the people around you or the car noises, any of that stuff. So the right combination of stuff comes up, it still triggers unexamined stuff in my mind. Even if I'm sitting good and not feeling bad, you're still able to receive any of that stuff that comes up.
SokukoJi, so if someone wanted to, if you were an instructor, if someone asked how to explore that, what would you say?
I like the idea of going slow. So like unless something shows up, not to do that on purpose. Like Sokuzan said recently, like it's a kind of intelligence, or it is intelligence that is keeping you from experiencing that. So there's kind of no reason. Like I don't think there's a need to go and like dredge all that stuff up to like process it, because then there's just another thing that you didn't see that you're gonna have to go and process. Like I don't think you'll ever get to the end of that. And I've found too, like when I get like my most critical pain thing calmed down, this other thing over here all of a sudden is just as important as that was. Like what the hell, this wasn't that big of a deal. Now it is. So in a way it kind of entrains me at least to just be hyper focused on my pain in another way and still go into this and then go into this. I've heard too where people have I mean, my mom's an example of this. She's had like countless surgeries over the years from a really bad car accident. And I've been watching her and it's like they never get the pain. It just goes somewhere else. Like they get this thing figured out. They finally find out she's going to have this surgery. She goes through it and she still feels bad. Oh, now it's over here. Another surgery. It's like they're just chasing it around. I've heard that from other medical professionals who used to live here, where they've seen that too, where that it just shows like how the mind is kind of playing tricks on us, or how it's using the body to fixate on something.
Wonderful. How do you see the intersection of some of the teachings like illusion, not separate, dependently originated when you consider body pain? Are any of the teachings helpful or informative in
Like for me or for like, because when you asked that, I remember like telling Junshu something when she broke her leg, and it's like she's in just like the most intense actual pain. And it's like telling her something about a teaching, it's not helpful at that point. Like, it's like life is suffering. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, there it is. My ankle's not connected where it should be. I'm trying to like actually crank up a situation or think of something literal I've gone through. I would say yes, but it's not like to use the illusion teaching, like the pizza example. It's like as a concept that doesn't really work, but like when I actually get to experience that it's an illusion, that like this thing I'm eating is making it feel like I've like been depressed my whole life or something like that, even though it's been 10 minutes. Like there's something humorous to that, but it's not like as a teaching concept. So in that sense, the teaching is more confirm what I'm looking at when that happens, and it does like help show me that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering about the interplay, like emptiness. When you consider that teaching, is that affecting how you perceive pain or vice versa? Can you understand a teaching more because of your experience of body challenges?
I think so. Like thinking how the pain is empty, and where I'm trying to go with that is how I have experienced relief from pain before I've taken medication, just because I know I had the medication, I was getting ready to have it. So that right there is really suspect. It's like, all right, this chemical isn't in my system, but the pain started to go away already. Kind of starts to put a big question mark on that. Backtrack a little bit. If it weren't empty, the medicine would have to hit me, then I would feel better. But it's showing me a little bit of how it's like what my mind thinks it is. It's not that it's not helping me, but it's showing how like the mind's kind of using that as an excuse to like back off of itself, if that makes sense. It's kind of like torturing the body so you can do what it thinks it needs. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like a little brat in that way. It sticks a finger in a wound and then gives you an excuse to where it'll stop doing that, even though it's the mind that's kind of hurting that in the first place. Some kind of like, I don't know if you've had this, but like there's a little pain here, and to like find the pain, it's like you make it worse so you can like locate it or something. And there's something peculiar about that.
Well, Divine, that makes me wonder about like the Sangha, your relationship to Sangha and your relationship to pain. I don't know why, but that just came up. It's like...
Those are synonyms, right? What relationship? Yeah, that's kind of what it is, though, isn't it? If you had a nice body, well, then you have a Sangha to help generate some pain for you. You're going to get it somewhere. I'm fortunate that my pain is very intrinsic, and a lot of my aggression goes this way.
Could you say a little bit, sometimes you've shared with me some specificity of areas of your shoulder that you've worked with, and using Tai Chi to work with that, or maybe Qigong to work to address that. You seem to have had some success, and I realize it's a very specific area, may not apply to anybody else, but to see how your awareness practice, so those two have informed each other. Could you say a little bit about that, please?
Yes, thank you. And I can bring it a little bit into a teaching too, where, so like I have this ongoing shoulder issue that I just had an MRI for. Like I've had 2 PT sessions for it, and like it was getting worse as I was doing it. And I'm finding out that
Did you have acupuncture for that too?
I did acupuncture, and I still had acupuncture this week, so I still use that in chiropractic. I've found a very good chiropractor that's got a good approach, very complimentary for all of it. But so it's like my first rib is out of place, and what I'm finding out is that I think my arms are straight, but because I've had a bunch of injuries on this side, this actually is rolled forward and down. So anytime I'm doing anything, I'm actually like pressing these bones against each other, and like I think I'm reaching out, but I'm actually, you know, the shoulder's in a closed position when it's rolled in like that. Like your hand would be down, but I'm functioning as if my hand's forward. But my mind thinks that's normal. It thinks I'm symmetrical. So my mind is lying to me that that's what it does. So with like Tai Chi, the forms are such where you really can't get your hand in them unless you're actually like completely in alignment. Like for like cloud hands, you have one on the belt channel, one in the front on your center. Well, if your arm's in the front like that, none of that's gonna articulate right. So it comes up like this. So like years of issues is because my arm wasn't rolled back like that, because my mind thought this was when it was up here. That's kind of silly, but like, and I can put it right back here, and I'm in excruciating pain again if I do anything. Like it's right back. If I roll it back and I'm strengthening these back muscles, I'm fine. I'm not in any pain right now. So that, just to reiterate, what's interesting there is that mind, like I would call it a concept. Like there's a concept of normal. Like I feel normal right now, even though I am not like in a good position. So my mind's lying to me about that. And I don't know any better. So you have a form like Tai Chi or Qigong where there's like an orb around you or something like that. And it's not just like an imaginary thing. It's like, that's because that's where your arms don't hurt when you move them there. It's like just a natural way for your arms to move.
It's interesting to note that having known you for a long time and see you go through lots and lots of body pain as you've been practicing and so on over the years and so on, and see that it actually is being reduced quite a bit, assuming that it has to do with this Tai Chi practice.
Yes, it's pretty incredible, and the interesting thing that I'm going through now is because I've basically had an identity of someone who maybe uses like cannabis or Tylenol every day to help relieve of the pain, and now that there's not any pain, it's like I lost my excuse to do that stuff. So there's this like irritating quality like in the mind where it's like today, like I went, because we're in Michigan, and there's a dispensary 3 minutes in every direction in every city that you're in. Like it's crazy. But I do get relief with some cannabis sometimes, and going in there and seeing like I don't have any pain, there's no reason to do this, and just leaving the garage, like there's no reason to like hook that up anymore, or at least right now. Yeah. Anyone online?
Wonderbang, we touched on it a little bit before you did. Pain and pleasure alike are ornaments, and it's pleasant to wear. So how are you seeing the same nerves giving two different messages?
That's a great one, because I the other day actually had a little bit of like an end to that. I think I was sitting and like the sensation comes up, and previously it had been so quick that I would like react to it. The sensation and like the pain were one and the same, but it's terrifying at first. But like if the sensation comes up and you don't do anything with it, you can't really pick it apart. It's just like maybe a tingle or something like that, almost like a tickle. Like it's not pleasurable or painful, but like when you want to do something with it, it starts to like push it in one direction or the other. Just a way of talking about it. So I thought about that the other day when I was sitting and looking at it. Like, oh, it really is just like a sensation. There's not every time. Of course, it hurts when it hurts, but there's a little bit of a glimmer of that. Is that what you were asking about?
Yeah, Kabali, I was curious in a similar area with how stress can, around a pain or an illness can, like, it creates kind of feedback or something? Have you noticed anything with these practices that have helped you look at that stress?
Yeah, it goes back to that idea of like feeling better when the medicine's there, even if you haven't taken it yet. It's like I've tried everything to like work with this, and it's just so defeating. Like you get like 3 days, Elena sent me to this, like it's like once a week. It's like I found it. This pair of shoes is gonna save my life. I'm gonna live forever now. Like 3 days, and then I'm just like a train wreck and in bed again. But like having a practice, like it's the same thing when I think a lot of us might have this experience. You find meditation, I know Sokuko's talked about it, it's like at least like finally I found a way to work with this crazy mind. And Tai Chi has been like a way to finally have a way to work with this body that I've ignored for so long, and it's a knot, like a literal knot. So it's a relief just knowing I have a way to work with it. So there's been some shows I go with Elena, and usually I'm like gobbling Tylenol all day. But once I learned that short form, if I start to feel bad, I'll just go do that for like 5 minutes and come back, and it's like I took a Tylenol or ibuprofen. It's like everything just feels fine again. Like, that's pretty cool.
I was curious if you ask if there's anyone else, especially people doing various, whether it's yoga or Tai Chi, or other forms of body exercise, even sports. Is there, if there's anyone who gets a relief in some way by working, or if it informs their sitting practice in some way? Just curious.
Yeah, please, Ray, go ahead.
Ray bowing. Yeah, great topic for me because I've had health issues my whole life. And I found for a while there, I was just sitting organically because I wasn't working on my body. And I found I could only sit for like maybe 5 minutes before the pain was too much. Until I had some success with practices like Qigong. I've also experimented with healing crystals, which I know is a bit of out there, but I've had some success with it. Now I'm able to sit maybe 10 to 20 minutes. And I'm sort of asking myself, I want to ask you as well, do you have any do you find any meaning in the pain for you? You know, having gone through so much, trying to sit, having pain, and it being gone suddenly. Do you get a feeling of like, oh man, I wish I'd found this sooner, or I suffered so much, sort of thing, bowing?
Not so much that, but it's like I was saying earlier, it's almost like I don't want it to go away because I was so preoccupied. Like I lost a part of my identity, which is the person with the problems that still showed up or did the thing or whatever. And it's like I lost part of my like handicap that I was proud of. This is an interesting area.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I've experienced that a little bit too because I was very sick, and excuse me, and sitting was one of those things where I really wanted to do it, so I carried on, but it was very painful. Now I don't have any pain, and I'm able to sit, and it actually feels pleasurable, which is a weird thing for me. I've gotten so used to the pain that it feeling pleasurable now is almost very strange, like almost like I can't digest it. And there is a part of me that identified with the pain too, and now I'm not sure who to be. You know, who do I be next? And I guess I'll find out because I definitely don't want to go back to the pain. I want to keep doing it. So I just sort of find out who that is. Oh,
And I think you were sharing, if you don't mind my bringing it up, in book study the other day that you actually, like with Qigong, you said it took like 2 years, but you actually were able to work through some medical stuff like with that practice. Is that right?
yeah, I was quite bad. I got it really into Wing Chun Kung Fu, but I overtrained. I didn't really look after myself, so I got really sick. I wasn't able to walk properly. I got really bad. Couldn't carry on with school and stuff like that. It took about 2 years of qigong. I was doing the eight brocades. I built up to that first, but that's the form I was practicing mainly. And it did take me about two years, 2.5 years, something like that. And I was as good as new, sort of thing, which was a miraculous thing to happen. Um, so yeah, I did work through some things. right now I'm having some issues as well, which I seem to be having success with healing crystals. I'm just sort of placing them on my chakra points and lying there. And it's surprising to me that it works, but it's only been a week, so touch wood. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but that's given me some success. And yeah, yeah. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for those things working, and it's definitely helping my sitting practice because now I'm able to sit for a full session, which is nice.
Nice. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Ray. Jishin, I saw you had unmuted. How are you feeling?
Going, thank you, better. I, I've, I've been practicing Qigong and Tai Chi long time ago, but Qigong, I went through all of those levels in Shambhala until the level of commitment. But I'm wondering, do you see the difference between, and it was enjoyable, kind of always bringing some release. But I'm wondering if you see the difference between the practice, which is kind of prescribed, like in meditation when we have breath or something to focus, we focus here on the very specific movement, versus connecting with the body and allowing the body to actually move. So to me, it sounds more like observing the mind in Shikantaza, what is coming, what is going. So what is coming to the body, and yeah, it's something more free and more spontaneous. I'm wondering if you have any experience with this kind of movement going.
I'm sorry, Jishin, I couldn't, I heard what you said, but I couldn't quite get what you were asking me to talk about. Could you just say that again? Just ask the question part again.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you have any experience with the movement of the body, working with the body, with the movement of the body, which is spontaneous and kind of, which comes from allowing the body to lead you, instead of making the movement which is prescribed by the system or instructor, which to me may be some similarity between Shikantaza, when there is that freedom, and the meditation, which is kind of prescribed in the way what to do.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. I stopped listening when I thought what I wanted to talk about, and I was like, yes, I'm going to talk about this thing. So sorry if this isn't fully what you were asking, but something that I feel has been, because I've been to yoga instructors too for like years and years and years and years, and something none of these body instructors, even my current Tai Chi instructor, no one is saying this, but like if I were to start teaching this, this is what I would do, is like use this practice to learn how to talk to your own body. Like don't just rotely go through forms, because like you're saying, it's just that, like you're going through a process. It feels nice, you'll go through all of that, but like me, for instance, if my body's like out of whack in one area, like extremely different, like just doing something externally symmetrical isn't actually balancing me, to say it that way. Like I actually need to put more time in something that's not like in a form to work on one area. So I don't know if someone were to have shared that earlier, if it would have clicked. Probably not, but it's like in retrospect, looking back, that's the one thing I really wish that body teachers, like yoga instructors and otherwise, would say. It's like, use this practice to learn about your own body, not just to repeat the form. So
This is in the same area. The way I teach Shikantaza, sitting meditation, is I teach someone who listen. I would say someone who listen to these forms are set up, and they're very strict as forms, but they're very, very open as far as how you practice them or observe them. If you come in here, if you need to come in here and sit, block sit after block sit and sit, if the structure's here for you to do that, you don't have to use your willpower, just observe the form. You'll find yourself sitting in the cushion, observing the wall, and if you feel like you need to go away, you don't feel good for any reason at all, you get to go. You don't have to explain it to the gecko or the umze or the doan or anyone else or the teacher. You're actually allowed to relate to your body-mind complex as it is. This is something that's totally missed, and I don't know anybody that teaches this way. As far as the Zen tradition, the Chan tradition, the Tibetan tradition, they all want to control you in some way. And so I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think the culture we're ready to actually be completely fully grown adults, or we're actually going to make this form our own by watching how sometimes we can observe the form, sometimes we can't. You need no excuse. So I think that's the area that you're talking about. You get to actually talk to your own body about it. You listen to your body, listen to what your body's saying. So thank you.
Thank you. And something I couldn't write a book on this, but a curious phenomenon I've seen a few times where, and again, this is where it's great to have the Dharma practice. It's like all of those instructions miss karma and past lives. So like, if you're just training I'm going to be a little silly here. If you're just training yourself to raise your right hand very symmetrically, your left leg might need to do something from 400 lifetimes ago that's nuts before your arm's actually ready with your mind to go up. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
It makes total sense. Let me interrupt you. And I totally agree with this. It's very hard to teach because what it looks like you're saying or I'm saying when I go in this direction, you're trying to get us to believe in past lives. No, it probably isn't even past lives, but something is happening in what we call the illusion of time that, for lack of a better way of saying it, was 400 years ago. In a different body, in a different space, in a different, but consciousness is not separate. It separates itself out into forms and bodies, but it's fundamentally not separate. So thank you for covering that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it feels like it's not a soul, whatever you want to call that. This wad of consciousness has been taking a human-esque shape. It's sort of good enough, but it's not actually in the body. Like it doesn't actually fit there. But it's been trying to for all these times, like, so you keep going through these forms and you keep doing things symmetrical, and you're just making that wad of mind tighter and tighter and tighter, and then it's going to explode, or you'll have a heart attack, or you'll find a teacher. No other options. Deb, you were a parent and now you are not. There you are.
Hello, Deb Bowing. Just along the experiences I thought I would share. I don't know the relevance, but I had a pretty intense practice of Bikram yoga, which is, it's as I understand, from India, and it's pretty intense forms.
What is it called?
Bikram yoga. It's hot yoga, 28 postures, 29 postures. So you go into a room that's about 105 to 10 degrees, and you do these very structured forms. You do each form twice and you move on to the next. And the instructor is the instructors are trained, the ones trained by Bikram himself are trained to be very strict, and just you're supposed to listen to their voice and just follow and push yourself into those postures as much as you can. And then you have to hold them and breathe as much as you can. And, it's a little bit like a breaking of one's, breaking through limitations so it's that whole body mind thing again, like my mind saying, I cannot do that. And then at some point I'm doing it. But there was, just to speak to the release thing you were speaking about earlier, I remember my first class, I just started sobbing. I don't even know why. I just could not stop. But there was some energy release going on there. But it definitely, for me, was a practice of I guess how to sit or how to move and break through places that your mind has always said you can't do that. Some might say it's crazy. Some might say it's dangerous from a physical therapy point of view. It certainly could be, but a lot of this stuff can be without guidance. So I don't know, I was mentioning that because it was a very intense, it's yoga based, so supposedly there's a spiritual aspect that goes with it, but the lights are on bright. You don't get quiet, you don't make things calm and nice. You almost make it more as irritable as you could make it. So I'm not sure how that falls into anything either, but it certainly was a practice. Deb Bowing.
Yeah, it sounds like a retreat at the monastery. It's a pressure cooker. I laughed when you brought that up because it was a very short-lived class, but I had this space that was gifted. They let us use the space for free in Ohio, and it was right after a hot yoga class. So I'm trying to get these people in there in this 100+ degree room when they all cleared out all these sweaty people. It's like, all right, let's go sit here and do nothing. It's like you're opening the windows, it just smells horrible. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing pleasant about it really, except that there is a sensation that, I don't know how to describe it. And I guess I was thinking about what your thoughts were on the intersection of, if we're looking at mind, body not being separate in all the pain myself. I've struggled with chronic pain for a long, long time. Those energetic, like Ray was talking about, the crystals, and I've done a lot of that kind of work too. Hands-on myofascial release and that kind of stuff, or energy zones. How do those intersect in a spiritual way, do you think? Deb Bowing.
I don't know. I think most of those practices would probably argue that they are spiritual. So I think in a sense you are just describing different spiritual practices. So I don't know if I'm getting at what you're asking with intersecting. But the first part of what you said reminded me of that story where like somebody walks in and there's a person hitting themselves with a hammer and they said, "Why are you doing that?" "Because it feels really good when I stop." Yeah. But it is a bit past 7 and we have a meeting, so.
I would comment on the intersecting part. I think that's certainly a valid question. It's just that falls in line with all the other mundane or relative practices about improving or getting better or solving things. Not wrong. People should be doing that, and they are. Bikram yoga, all kinds of practices are all about getting results. And my understanding of the spiritual path is about seeing the truth. That may show up as results that you like. That may show up as results that you do not like. But if you really are interested in the truth, then that needs to be over everything. So the truth for you and your particular karma, this way it's showing up, may not be so good, may not be so comfortable. Does not mean you're wrong. There is no right and wrong. So thank you.
Thank you, Sokuzan.